Hi, my name is Diana and welcome to MyoCore. Today I thought it would be really fun to talk about the Princess Diaries series. So I decided that I wanted to read the entirety of the series because I rewatched the first movie and I was like, oh my gosh, I loved Michael. I'm so upset that he wasn't in the second movie because the actor was on tour for his real band, so he couldn't be in the second movie. And then I remembered that in the books it's like canon that Michael and Mia end up together, so I was like, why don't I just read the series? Today I'm going to be talking about how freaking unhinged the Princess Diaries series is. So unfortunately the sound went out in the video after this because I was recording a voice memo on like one recording instead of separate recordings because my camera kept like dying and stuff like that. So the sound goes out because it didn't pick up like the rest of the video after this. So I'm gonna be holding my phone, but it's just gonna be regular sound. I didn't want the video to be me having sound for the like literally 45 minutes of the video and then the rest of it just going out. So I'm just gonna save myself the trouble and not putting any sound in it. I'm so sorry. I worked so hard on this video and I wanted it to be perfect, but of course with me something always has to go wrong. So before I even get into that, let's get into some like little maintenance things. If you like this video, let me know because I do have plans to do more of these type of videos where I talk about books that were adapted to movies, especially like series, and like when only like the first book or the first few books got adapted but not the rest. I want to do more videos like these and I have some planned, so if this one does well I'll be sure to be doing more. And I am going to be reading off my notes. I know like people really like eye contacting videos, but I still have not perfected like not reading off my notes. I'm sorry, I did not take those classes in high school, like how to like read and like look at the audience. I didn't take those classes. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be reading off my notes so that I don't miss anything. Oh, I'm also wearing a tiara in the spirit of like the Princess Diaries, if no one caught that. This series was written by Meg Cabot, who also wrote the Avalon High series. I think there's only 3 or 4 books in the series, and I actually think they're comics. The Princess Diaries was written first. There's also a 4-book spin-off called The Notebook of a Middle School Princess, which follows Mia's biracial half-sister. So The Princess Diaries is a 12-book series following Mia Thermopolis from 2001 to 2009, with the last 2 books being written, one in 2015 about Mia and Michael's wedding, and then another one in 2023, and it was a quarantine book. So I only read 10 books because from 2001 to 2009 was like the 10 books that came out, and then the last 2 came out like years later. I read the reviews for the wedding book and it didn't look good, and then the quarantine, I'm not one of those people who like don't like books about quarantine, but I just don't want to read about like it's well over, not over, but you know, it's well past the quarantine era, so like I kind of don't give a shit. And it also has 2 movies out, which is literally peak cinema, and then a 3rd movie is on the way, which also is what sparked me to like read the books. So the plot is about 14-year-old Mia Thermopolis, who has trouble explaining how she feels, and she also has like a small lying issue, and then she finds out that she's a princess and it changes her life, maybe for the better, possibly for the worse. We will find out in this video. It is set in Manhattan, New York, and then the characters, I only mention characters that show up in 3 or more books because these are already a lot of characters. If I did a character that showed up in every book, or you know, every 2 books, it would be a lot. So these are 3 or more books. So the main character is Mia Thermopolis. She's a freshman at Albert Einstein High School. She is the only child to Helen Thermopolis. Helen Thermopolis is Mia's mother, who is dating her algebra teacher. Then we have Fat Louie, who is Mia's cat. We have Felipe Ronaldo, Mia's dad. Grandmere, who is Clarice from the movies, but she's only referred to as Grandmere in the books. Lily Moscovitz, Mia's biggest hater, also her best friend, but if Mia has no haters, Lily is dead. Ling Su Wong, she is Mia's friend. She's Asian, she's an artist, and she just loves art. Then we have Shamika Taylor, who is also Mia's friend. She is black, she loves Beyonce, she's very smart and very kind. We have Tina Hakim Baba, who is the daughter of a Saudi Arabian oil king, and she was also a British model. We have Michael Moscovich, who is Lily's older brother. We have Lena Weinberger, who is known as Lena Thomas in the movie. She's also another one of Mia's biggest haters. surprisingly not a bigger hater than Lily is though. We have Lars, Mia's bodyguard, Frank Gianni, who is Ellen's boyfriend and Mia's algebra teacher, Boris Pakowski, who is a Russian kid in their GNT class. GNT is gifted and talented. We have Kenny Showwater, who is Mia's lab partner, John Paul, who is a rich kid, and Mia's brother Rocky Thermopolis. So a lot of these characters actually don't show up in book 1 or book 2 or even book 3. Some of them come off the latter half of the series, but they still are mentioned in 3 or more books. So now we're gonna actually get into the book. So let's get into it. The book first starts off with Mia being upset because her mom is dating her algebra teacher. Mia is failing algebra and she's just really uncomfortable. Her mom gives her this diary to write in to help her express her feelings more. So yes, the Princess Diaries is actually like her diaries. There are series that I've read where like the Vampire Diaries, that is not like diary entries. It's just like, oh, like following her story. So I was kind of gagged when I found out that the Princess Diaries, like it was reading from her diary entry. Okay, so this series is absolutely unhinged. Literally in one of the first few chapters, there's this insane line where Mia's talking about Lana and she goes, how come nice people like Princess Diana get killed in car wrecks, but mean people like Lana never do? That's the kind of insane shit that Mia just writes in her diary on a day-to-day basis. Like, it actually gets worse from there, surprisingly. Imagine my surprise when I'm reading this chapter and she goes, my dad called today. I was like, your dad? Because he's dead in the movies, but in the books he's actually alive. She believes he is a politician in Genovia. She's aware it exists. She's been to it. She goes there for the summer and Christmas. I personally think that she doesn't know, just because Mia, at first when I was reading the series for the first time, I just took it as like, you know, Mia's a teenager and teenagers are selfish. No, Mia is a very selfish person. She really only cares about like herself. She does care about other people. Like, she's not like super selfish, but like most of the time she only cares about like what people can do for her and like how it'll benefit her. But so I think that's why she never noticed that she was a princess. She even did a project on Genovia and she copied down one of the people's names and she noticed that it said Ronaldo, which is her last name, but she never put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, she knows that Grammar exists. She sees her from time to time. She speaks to her from time to time. She was even trying to convince her dad like why her dad and Grammar should go to Iceland, because that was something that she wanted to do. Her dad did have cancer and he had to get one of his testicles removed, so he can't procreate. Yeah, so her dad visits her and tells her that she's a princess, but of course she doesn't take it well. She starts acting really weird with Lily and Lily notices and doesn't like it, and this is like where the tension like forms with them. Lily, there's this like underlining plot line that Lily found out that the deli across the street from their school, which is Albert Einstein High School, she finds out the deli across the street has been discounting the Asian kids from the school, but only the Asian kids and not the other school. The deli is called Ho's Deli and it is referred to as Holgate throughout the entire book, which I thought was so funny. So Lily calls for a school-wide boycott and she is thinking of secretly filming herself and filming the injustice so that she can like get it on record, but Mia kind of doesn't want her to. And also Lily has a TV show called Lily Tells It All, which I think was mentioned in the movie. I'm sorry, a lot of times in the movie when Lily opened her mouth, I kind of just, because it irritated me, so I kind of just didn't pay attention. Also, the Moskowitz are very rich. They have maids. They live in this big mansion in Manhattan, and Mia sleeps over there often. One night she was sleeping over there and they were playing this game, like Mia, Lily, and Michael, and they were playing this game. So basically somebody would ask if you would rather date this celebrity or this celebrity, and then it goes from like celebrities to like Michael being like, oh, would you rather, or no, I think it was Lily. Lily was like, oh, would you rather date Michael or would you rather date Josh, because Mia has a crush on Josh. It's like in the TV show. Also in the book, Mia's a freshman and Michael and Josh are seniors. Lana is a sophomore. Yeah, and it's so obvious that Michael has a crush on her. I thought it was like so cute. Lily and Mia end up arguing, but unlike in the movie, they are arguing for like days. Around this time, Mia and Michael start to hang out together, like just separately with them two, and they start to form like a relationship of their own, and like it was really nice seeing their own scenes. Also, just like in the movie, Mia does put an ice cream cone to Lana. There's a cultural diversity dance, and Mia finds out that Lily has a date, which was Boris, which like Mia was like upset because one, nobody really likes Boris. They don't like hate him, but he's like Russian and people like find his accent annoying, but like so they like push him in the closet because the G&T class doesn't, the teacher goes to the teacher's lounge a lot, so they kind of just do whatever. It's like a free period to them, so like they kind of just push Boris in the closet and then like go about their day. Mia is upset that she also doesn't have a date of her own, which is like, okay girl. And then Mia gets her own bodyguard named Lars, and that's when she makes a friend with Tina, because Tina kind of doesn't have any friends either because her dad has like this fear that someone's gonna like kidnap her and use her for ransom money. So Mia starts to like hang out with Tina, and she's like, oh wow, Tina's actually really cool. And so Tina is, I love Tina, she's one of my favorite characters. She loves romance books, she loves romance. She's kind of like Mia, but she's also like a hopeless romantic, and she's kind of the voice of reasoning for Mia a lot of the times. And I think she was a better friend than Lily was. And so Mia notices that like, you know, Tina's always sitting alone, so she goes to sit with Tina, and then Lars and Tina's bodyguard, they end up like forming their own friendships. Like they would sit at like the lunch table and like talk about like guns or whatever. I think that was Meg Cabot just being like, what would bodyguards talk about? And it's just like, I don't know, I thought it was very funny. Someone rats out that she's a princess, so it's like now all over school, and she's being tutored by Michael when Michael and Lily end up arguing because Lily and Mia still aren't friends, and Michael hits at wanting to ask Mia to the dance, but Mia doesn't catch it. Mia's very like oblivious. Like there are a lot of times in the book when you're like, girl, and she'll be like, oh like, she also was just thinking about Josh a lot in this book. She really had a crush on Josh. Like Lana and Josh sits with Mia and Tina at lunch. They invite her to go to a party that's the same night as the school dance, but Mia declines because, you know, she's not a party girl. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke or anything like that. And everyone's like, wow, like you're kind of lame. And then Mia's kind of like, whatever. And I really, not my crown, my crown has fallen. It wasn't like a peer pressure thing. It wasn't like a come on. Like Mia was like, no, like I don't like this thing. Mia's also a vegetarian. That has nothing to do with anything, but I just wanted to mention that because I just remembered. It ends up finding out that Gramier is the one that told the press. And in the book, Clarice slash Gramier isn't like the nice like grandma that she is, grandma slash queen that she is in the movie. Gramier is very like selfish. She's stuck in her ways. She's kind of a villain of sorts, but like in a cunty way. Like I couldn't even hate her. Like she was just so entertaining. Like she was such a different character than what she was in the movie, and at first I thought that was gonna be like kind of off-putting, but it was like actually kind of like slay. Like she definitely is one of my favorite characters. Like I loved it. Lana and Josh break up, so Josh asked me to the dance, and of course it's like her crush, so she's like, oh my gosh, yes, like let's go to the cultural diversity dance together. And there's a scene where Tina and Mia are having a sleepover, and they read one of Mia's romance books, and Mia notes that in all the romance books the boy never immediately dates the hero. He usually takes a summer or at least a weekend, and only the ones where the guy did date her right away is when the guy was out trying to get revenge or something. And I was just like, this is so funny. You just told us the rest of the plot of the book. Like we already knew that, but like, come on Mia, catch up. And she's just like, whatever. Like I noticed that, but like whatever. Mia has this big problem with like lying to everyone, and it's sort of because she's a people pleaser, but she lies all the time, and it's mostly about small stuff, but she lies to tell people like what they want to hear, to just, I don't know, it's because she doesn't really want to talk about her feelings. Like she lies all the time, and I thought it was just going to be throughout this book. No, it's throughout the entire series. Like even in the final book, she even starts a lie count in the final book. Yeah, with some convincing, she ends up going to the cultural diversity dance because, you know, her algebra teacher slash her mom's boyfriend is like, you're going with Josh. Guys kind of like, you know, whatever. Ends up, you know, convincing her mom to let her go to cultural diversity dance with Josh, and then she gets there and she's not feeling him because he's just bragging about his ex-girlfriend before Lana, and how his ex-girlfriend's dad invented the plastic bags. But you know, like you know, like when you grab the vegetables, how there's an open here, he invented that, and like now the guy is like really rich. And Mia's like, I don't give a fuck about your ex-girlfriend's dad. Like, you're, what the fuck? Like, it's not even like Lana, it's the girl before Lana. So it's like, I really don't give a fuck. Also note, Mia keeps comparing Josh and Michael. In the beginning of the book, I kind of see it as like, at first she was comparing Michael to Josh and just being like, oh, Josh is so cute, you know, Michael's cute too, but Josh. And then like towards the end, like around this point, she's kind of like, okay, well, Josh is like a little bit weird, and like Michael's weird too, but like it's like in a hot way, like, you know, like those are some examples. And there's a scene where the scene in the movie where Josh set her up for paparazzi, that happens in the book, but it happens at school, like during the cultural diversity dance, and it happens at the top of the stairs, so like right in front of the school. Mia calls him out and says how he doesn't know her, and how, I really like this scene in the book, she talks about how he doesn't know her and how she thought that he was inviting her to the dance to get to know her. She's been liking him for so long, but he has not tried to get to know her at all the whole night. And I really like that, because it's like when you have a crush on someone, you just make up excuses for them until like you finally start to see they're an asshole. But it took like Mia like one time, and she's like, yeah, I'm not fucking with it. And I really love that. And he fights and says that he tried to get to know her, and she said, you brought me steak, and he's like, okay. And then Lily chimes in and she's like, come on, the girl is a vegetarian. So that kind of like sparks Lily and Mia's friendship, because they have not been friends up until this point. Like from the moment I told you they were in an argument, they have not been friends up until this point. This is like the last like 50 pages of the book. Yeah, and I really like Lily in this moment, because she's not complaining, she's not criticizing her, she's kind of just like being a good friend for her. And then Michael is there, and Michael ends up sitting together, and they're talking, and they end up dancing together, and then the book just kind of ends. So now on to book 2, Princess in the Spotlight. So this book starts off, it's been 24 hours since the last book, which is like, duh, it's a diary. Book starts off with Mia's mom telling her that she's pregnant. And also something I didn't mention in the first book is that Mia is absolutely obsessed with her breasts being small, and she complains about it every chance she gets, which I mean, I understand, because me too, girly, but they're not gonna grow. I'm sorry to tell you, but you might as well give it up, because you're just gonna be like that for the rest of your life. Like, you might as well let it go. Like, Mia obsesses over it. I had to bring it up because I was like, at this point in the book, I'm like, okay girl, you're not gonna drop it. I don't think she drops it. No, she doesn't. She like drops it around like book 4, and then it picks back up again, or it's like mentioned in small parts. Girl, I understand, but you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Mia spends like 10 pages straight obsessing over her mom being pregnant. Has to keep this secret from her algebra teacher, aka Frank Gianni, you know, Helen's boyfriend, because he doesn't know yet. So one thing about Mia is whenever she like feels something or obsesses over something, she spends like 10 to 50 pages just writing about that same thing, even if it's set in different days. So like if she's upset that her mom is pregnant, you better believe for 10 to 50 pages she's going to be complaining about her mom being pregnant. It was like, the book tries to pretend like she had a crush on Michael the whole time, which I'm like, I guess I can kind of see it, because I used to have a crush on a lot of guys at once when I was in high school, so I can get it. Guess this is at this point when I start to question Mia as a narrator. So she is definitely an unreliable narrator. Like throughout the entirety of the series, there are things that are stated in like one book, but then in the other book it either contradicts the other thing, or it just completely erases it, or just makes like it just didn't happen, or like it changes. Mr. Gianni, the algebra teacher, his name is Frank, I'm just gonna call him Frank because I'm not about to be calling him Mr. Gianni, are getting married. So now literally I wrote these notes as I was reading them, so a lot of the notes are like things that I noticed like in that moment. So I literally wrote, Mr. Gianni and Mia's mom are now getting married, so now I have to listen to her complain for another 30 pages straight. And was I wrong? No, I did have to listen to her complain for another 30 pages straight. So basically someone sent Mia an anonymous letter, and it was obviously Michael, and it was about how much he liked her before she was a princess, and that he'll keep liking her no matter what. And I'm like, wow, that is real yearning. Let's bring back love letters. Okay, so at a sleepover, Mia finds out that her friend Shamika, Ling Su, Lily, and Tina have all had their first kiss. So now she is feeling left out, and there's nothing good that comes from Mia feeling left out. Okay, and so the secret admirer is going by Joe C. Rocks. So JO-C-Rocks ROX. Obviously Josie from Josie and the Pussycats. Also, this series has a lot of like pop culture references. Like Mia's a huge nerd. She loves, like, it talks about Buffy the Vampire Slayer a lot, talks about Star Wars, Josie and the Pussycats. Like, I personally actually really loved I don't really even like pop culture references in books, but I personally really loved reading about that because it was just the early 2000s. So I was like, wow, like this is really fun, like reading it. And then a lot of times in her diary, like it would be like Mia's take on reality TV, and so it'll go through all the reality TV shows and rate them. As a reality TV lover, I love that. Or like it would be like Mia's hottest celebrities, and it'll be like all the hot celebrities. It's actually really, it's like a time capsule. It's like really fun to read about actually. In the entire book, Mia is like, ugh, I wish it was Michael. And at this point I wrote, it literally is. And that is why after this book I actually stopped writing my opinion on things as I was reading the book. I kept writing, like, obviously my bullet points as I went, but I didn't write my opinions on things after this book, and you will see why in the end. So Mia ends up getting this big interview on a TV show, and it's like really important, and she rambles a lot, and of course Lily gets mad. At this point it's like Lily is always mad. Like anytime Mia does anything, Lily is mad at it. And basically Lily got mad because the reason Lily gets mad at Mia is just always so dumb. Like she got mad because in the interview, like, Mia's rambling about like her life. Like she's a teenage girl, so she's rambling like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm a princess now, and like, you know, I just want to go back to being a normal girl and with my nerdy little friends, and you know, I have this class called G&T and the teacher's never really there. And like Lily gets mad because, oh, like, we aren't cool enough friends for you, or I'm not a cool enough friend for you. And then she gets mad, she's like, you could get the teacher in trouble for saying that. Like, have you ever put any thought in anything? And it's just like, okay Lily, like, not important. But in this book I found out that Genovia banned cruise ships from the docking bay, and I just was like, this is so random and funny. There's a scene where Michael invites her to hang out for Halloween with friends to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and she's like, it's kind of scary. And I'm like, is that even appropriate for children? Also, it's not scary, but it's just Meg Cabot throwing in pop culture references, okay? Because Rocky, where are your parents? Well, it talks about sex a lot, so I guess it wouldn't be. But like, I just remember in Glee everyone being like, because that was the first time I heard about it, and I've been obsessed ever since. Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my favorite musicals. I love Damn It Janet, but like, it does talk about sex a lot, and it does have a sex scene in it. I don't know how that works, but whatever. I enjoy these books because I find Mia very entertaining. A lot of people find her annoying, and she is annoying. I think she's very entertaining. Like, she just will think like the most random funny thing, and you're just like, wow. Yeah, this book suffers heavily from second book syndrome. Lily runs off with Mia's cousin Hank, and she ends up realizing that they like each other, but they never say anything when they run off. So Mia worries, and when Lily returns, Mia confronts her, and Lily is all like, can you be any more possessive? And it's like, girl, you're the one to talk. You got mad because she went on a big talk show before she went on your show. Because she wasn't mad that, I mean, she could have been mad at multiple reasons, but it was like she was mostly mad because Mia went on this talk show, this big talk show, before she went on hers. So you wouldn't talk about her being possessive, but Lily pisses me the fuck off. Obviously, honestly. Mia was like flipping through channels, and she stopped at this local channel and noticed Lily's show was on. But in this episode, it reveals a moment where Lily was secretly recording her, and they were talking, and the conversation wasn't bad. It was just about how she wanted to save all the animals, and Lily asks her if she likes being a princess, and she basically says no because things have changed. She doesn't like change, and it just shows like this different side of Mia, and it's an honest side of Mia, which, girl, you didn't even see in the damn book because Mia lying to everybody all the time. So it's actually like, that was like a really nice thing that Lily did. Yeah, nothing really is bad, and I thought it was actually really nice of Lily because it showed this side of her after she embarrassed herself on this really important interview. And Mr. Gianni moves in, and at this point her mom is pregnant by him. They're gonna get married. He just moves in. So I don't understand why she doesn't call this man by his first name. She calls him Mr. Gianni the entire book. My notes kept saying Mr. Gianni because I did not know his name was Frank, because she only refers to him as Mr. Gianni for like the entirety of the series, to be honest. The secret admirer messages her to confirm that she's going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and is, to me, I wrote, this is also confirming that it's Michael. And then Mia finally gets it and she starts to believe it's him as well. And then Hank and Boris, which I haven't mentioned him, I talked about him in the characters, but Boris is he's in GNT. He's the one who took Lily to the cultural diversity dance in the first book. So Boris and Hank, they basically end up fighting over Lily because Boris is kind of Lily's boyfriend, but not really. They only kissed a few times, but they end up fighting over her, and it's like, okay. And Mia's mom is supposed to get married, but it was supposed to be this really big thing and they didn't really like that, so they decided they're gonna go off to Cancun together. Helen writes Mia this note explaining everything, so it's not just like some random shitty thing that she does. I did kind of think that was irresponsible as a parent, but like, it wasn't that bad. Secret admirer was not Michael, and we can see why I always lose in the game of Clue when my family plays it, because I clearly am not made to be a detective. It's actually revealed to be her lab partner Kenny, which makes sense because he's been mentioned in the beginning of the book, and I didn't talk about him at all because I didn't think he was important, and then I was like, oh shit, the secret admirer was Kenny. So yeah, Kenny asks her on a date, and instead of saying no because she's in love with Michael, she agrees to go out with Kenny, and then the book ends. Now on to book 3, Princess in Love. Book 3 starts off December 6th, which is 3 months after the last book ended. Pretty sure this is one of the biggest time jumps that we've had so far. She's supposed to go to Genovia to a formal to introduce herself to the people there. Mia's dating Kenny, and it's so funny because in her diary she's trying to convince herself that she likes him, and like even as like the audience, like you're not buying it, like as a member of the audience. And then suddenly she's like, here's a scoop, I actually don't like him. And I'm like, girl, we know. But I just love, she's so real. Kenny tell Mia he loves her, and I'm like, what? It's only been 3 months. Like, what do you don't even know what love is, young man. You don't even know what it is. Mia also believes that Michael has a girlfriend who is named Julia, and she spends her time attempting to clone fruit flies. And it's just so funny because Mia just keeps insisting that Michael has a girlfriend, and Lily is like, he doesn't have a girlfriend, and Mia's like, he has a girlfriend, I know it. I just know Julia's his girlfriend. And it's like, how do you know that? Did they tell you that? So Mia wants to break up with Kenny, but is afraid of hurting his feelings, so she keeps putting it off. And then he like professes his love to her in the hallway, and she was like really embarrassed by that because she doesn't feel the same. And it's like, girl, ended. She decides to write Michael a love letter because she realized how well the love letters that Kenny wrote worked on her, so she thinks it's gonna work on Kenny. Mind you, she's dating Kenny. Okay, this shit is messy as hell. Honestly, the books only get messier from here. Okay, so Lily's having a school walkout for some social justice issue, because that's all. I mean, I love it, but like pretty much if they have to do something, it's probably because Lily is on her social justice shit, right? So Mia didn't really want to do it because she didn't want to disappoint her new stepfather, you know, by walking out of the school, the algebra teacher. She also didn't want to miss it and upset Lily because we know how fragile Lily is. So you know what she does? She pulls the fire alarm. Lana finds out that Mia pulled the fire alarm, and Mia broke Lana's phone. And Mia starts getting this yellow rose, and she doesn't really know who it's from, but she knows it's not Kenny, so she's like hoping that it's Michael. And she's waiting for a secret snowflake. She doesn't want it to be Kenny, and she wants it to be Michael. And it turns out to be some new guy named Justin. He confesses that it was him, who was already popular despite being a new character. And a secret snowflake is something that they signed up for months prior. You put their name in a jar, someone pulls a name and leaves you secret notes, and then it's revealed at the end of winter break, or the week before winter break. There's a moment where Michael is standing behind Justin with a yellow rose, and there's a moment where you think that it's actually Michael. I'm done guessing after the last book, so I'm not even gonna be like, oh yeah, I know it's Michael. I'm just saying there's a moment where I thought, okay, like maybe it's Michael, and then he's like, just dropping this off at your locker, and you're like, oh my god. And then the secret snowflake is revealed, and it's not even just Justin is actually Boris, which is crazy. I got whiplash, okay, from that scene, because you're like, oh my gosh, like, who's the secret admirer? You know it's not Kenny. Is it Michael? It could be Michael. And then this guy named Justin confesses that it's him, so you're like, oh my gosh, Justin, who the fuck is Justin? Justin was mentioned, but still you're like, oh my gosh, who the fuck is Justin? And then Michael's standing behind Justin with a yellow rose, so you're like, oh my gosh, it's Michael again. And then it's confessed that it's actually Boris. And it was a friendly flower, like it wasn't anything romantic, but just hold on to that thought. So Mia finds out she got a B in algebra, and she hugs Michael because he's the one that helped her. And it turns out Kenny saw the whole thing. So at the winter carnival, Mia gets a love note from her own, and it turns out that it's actually from Michael. She can't look at him, so she runs away crying because she thought he was like making fun of her. And she ends up running to Kenny, and she finally admits that she doesn't love him. She was doing all this shit while she had a boyfriend, which is like crazy. Then Kenny reveals that he knew that she was in love with someone else, but he thought it was Boris, Lily's boyfriend. And then like immediately after that, she starts crying about how she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's actually really kind of me. I can't even be mad about it. Mia and Michael finally end up meeting up, and he admits that he wasn't making fun of her, and they kiss, and that is the end of book 3. Now on to book 4, Princess in Waiting. I actually wasn't paying attention when the last book ended. Probably was like only a few days into this one. So this one, they're on Christmas break. Mia is in Genovia and Michael is in Florida. There is like 30 pages of Mia saying that she tried to call Michael, and there's even a count of how many days since she's last seen him. Lily and Mia end up on the phone, and Lily reveals that Mia forgot Michael's birthday. Like, damn girl, you spent 3 books obsessing over him, then you get the man, and then you forget that it's his birthday? Selfish. She is so selfish. Mia and Michael end up having a conversation where she talks about missing his birthday, and he understands because of the fact that she's busy and like all the time zone, and he's just like very understanding and sweet, and you could just tell that he just wants to be with Mia. Like she's kind of a shitty girlfriend. She didn't deserve him, but whatever. Also during that conversation, he tells her that she needs to get rest, and she goes, I am, and he's like, I mean it. And she's like, I like how authoritarian he sounds in comparison to Beauty and the Beast, because she's obsessed with Beauty and the Beast. I didn't mention that. Like, she is obsessed with Beauty and the Beast. It's her favorite musical. She talks about it a lot. She talks about how he reminds her of Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing, and then she goes, how exciting. She's just like me. She's just like, you see why I love her? Because I am literally the same way. Don't like boss me around, but like don't like not boss me around. You know what I'm saying? So Grandmere gives Mia Jane Eyre and to read, because Grandmere's like, girl, you're getting my goddamn nerves. So her and Tina have like this mini book club, and they read Jane Eyre together, and what they have gathered from that book is to not chase boys. So you know what Mia's bright idea is? She's not gonna call Michael. She's gonna stop calling Michael. Michael ends up sending Mia a message on the machine thing, tells her to call him because she completely stopped calling him, like completely. And honestly, it was just like, it was so cute and so sweet. And Mia talks to her mom, and luckily her mom knocks sense to her. Her mom is like, listen, like you can't treat him like this. Like, I can understand if you know this was like the beginning of dating, and like you wanted him to chase you or like whatever, but y'all are in a relationship now. Like, you can't, there's no point in doing this. Mia talks to Michael, and he asks her out on their first date. When they get home, they're going to see Star Wars because they're quoting Empire Strikes Back together, and Mia feels it's better than saying like I love you, because she was like still traumatized from the Kenny moment. Mia thinks that Michael is Han Solo and she is Princess Leia, and then the chapter ends with her saying the Force is so with me, which is real, because that is absolutely something I'm saying. The fact that she goes, the Force is so with me, is like literally so real. And apparently Michael is the 3rd best looking guy in the school, even though I thought he was a loser. So you see what I'm saying about Mia being an unreliable narrator, because in the first book she's just like, oh yeah, Michael's like, you know, a loser. I like, you know, I love me a loser, so that's why I love him. She's like, yeah, Michael's a loser. Okay, she doesn't say that. Okay, she doesn't say that, but she damn near might as well. Okay, she's like, yeah, he looks hot without a shirt on, but he's just not popular. He doesn't really like organized sports. He's just really smart. He has a band. Well, no, his band doesn't form until like later on in the series, I think. Now suddenly he's the 3rd hottest guy in the school. The first 2 being Josh and Justin, and then Michael. Okay, unreliable narrator. Yeah, but she ends up having to cancel the day because she has to go to this ball with her grandmother the same day, like as they schedule. And then she's like, Michael's gonna leave me for missing our first day. And it's like, girl, this is literally how the whole book is. Like, literally any moment where like it's something that she can't control, she's like, oh my gosh, like Michael's gonna leave me, this person's gonna help me. It's like, also she has like a control issue. Yeah, so now Mia's scared that Michael's gonna break up with her. Amir introduces Mia to a bunch of people, like another person, to being dating this guy named Renee. Renee was introduced earlier in the book, and I didn't think he was important because he is her cousin. Then Michael plans a date for them to watch the movie on DVD since Mia had to cancel plans. And Michael tells Mia he loves her, and Mia's like, do you love me like a friend, or are you like in love with me? And then the book ends. And now we're on book 5, Princess in Pink. And honestly, after book 5, the things that I start to jot down are a lot. I start to jot down a lot less in these books because honestly at this point I was kind of getting fed up. Like, Mia is annoying. Like, I love her, but she is annoying, so it does become very frustrating and tiring to talk about these books. All of these books are only 250 pages, if that. Some of them are like 220, so there's really not much to talk about. And like, it's mixed media, so a lot of the pages will just be like Mia writing down her homework, or like she does her homework in her diary a lot, so a lot of them are just like random pages. So like, I love this series. But yeah, so book 5, Princess in Pink. So this book starts off in April, and now this is prom season, and this book focus is basically Mia obsessing over Michael asking her to prom, which from what we know about Michael from the movie, probably what we've seen so far, do we think that Michael is the type of guy to want to go to prom? He wrote her a song because also her birthday is around May, so he wrote her this really cute song and he performed it with his band at school for her birthday. And he also got her a necklace with a snowflake on it, which I thought was like so cute. Like, the song was so cute. Mia living my rock star like boyfriend dreams, like a lucky bastard. Amir got someone fired at his job because he accidentally spilled soup on her from tripping over her dog. And now Lily is protesting the restaurant because they want him to work his job. So now Mia's caught in a hard place because the guy got fired because her grandma, and she knows it's wrong, and she keeps trying to convince Grandmere to apologize for it. And Grandmere's like, I don't gotta apologize about a damn thing. Like, she's like, I ain't got nothing to apologize for, which is like, Queenie, but you also cost someone their job. So then Mia has a birthday party, and Tina says that they should play 7 Minutes in Heaven so Mia can get Michael alone and talk about prom and like get him to ask her to prom. And Mia gets annoyed because it's a nerdy party and she wants people to just do the time warp from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and she doesn't want people to make out in her closet. Like, she's just like, I want to have a nerdy good time, we're gonna be nerds, we're gonna talk about Star Wars, we're gonna do the time warp, and nobody's gonna be having, we're not party people, we're nerds, guys. The time warp, it's just like, it's so early 2000s because like, imagine, like, I'm a nerd, I love Rocky Horror Picture Show, I love all the stuff that Mia talks about, but like, I'm imagining if I was in high school and someone invited me to a party and the point is to dance and do the time warp, I would be like, girl, I'm a loser, but to a certain extent. Like, so Lily bought the guy who got fired, his name was Jangbu, so she bought him to Mia's party and was all over him despite her boyfriend Boris being there. Mia and Michael end up in 7 Minutes in Heaven, to which Mia asks Michael, finally she asks him about the prom, and she finds out that Michael was never gonna ask her in the first place because prom is not his thing. Which, yeah, this is coming from the guy who doesn't like organized sports, so why would he want to go to prom? Then Lily goes into the closet with Jangbu, the Lily that has a boyfriend, right? Mia gets mad at Michael because Michael doesn't want to fight Jangbu. Mia's the kind of person where it's like, I can't get mad at her because it's like, she's so mean. It's like she had, but to a certain extent, like, she has this expectation of Michael where it's like she wants him to be like that guy who just fights for the woman's honor and who just beats up other guys for the women that he loves. And it's like, girl, this is not This is Michael we're talking about. Like, I don't know. I kind of just picture him as a loser, I guess. Maybe I'm the wrong one here. Mia's parents end up coming home, and Frank catches them playing 7 Minutes in Heaven, and Mia's mom has the talk with Mia, and Mia comes up with the plan to get Michael's band to go to prom so that it can go, but then she realizes that Lena is the head of prom and like has to beg her. Prom gets canceled because of all the protests, and Lena blames Mia and says, you Genovians are all the same, which felt racially motivated, because what does that mean? Apparently Boris and Tina have got a thing for each other, so we went from Boris and Lily to Boris and Tina and Lily and Jangbu. So Grammy ends up saving the prom by getting them a place to hold it at, so that way Michael's band can play and Mia can now go to prom, and also make up what she did to Mia. What she did to Jangbu to Mia. I thought this was very interesting that Mia like so badly wanted to go to prom, because like she's not a senior, she's only a freshman, so you were gonna have your prom, and like I get that like Michael's her boyfriend and he's a senior, so there's only one prom that they can go to together, so I understand it, but at the same time it's kind of just like, you're only a freshman, why do you, I don't know, I only went to prom once. So, and I didn't even want to go then, which is like surprising. Like you would think like the kind of person I am, like a girly girl, that I would want to go to prom. I took my tiara off and I totally forgot to put it back on. Wow. Anyways, Lily finds out that Boris and Tina are going to prom together and she's really upset, and honestly that's what she gets for being messy. The protest is over and Mia's happy that she gets to go to prom. But then we get to book 6, Princess in Training. This one starts off in September, so now we're in Mia's sophomore year. Mia's mom had her brother and Michael is now in college. Lena has convinced Mia that Michael will break up with her if they don't do it, because he's a college guy now. I don't like this book. Let's start there. I'll explain why later on, but just know this is one of my least favorite books in the series. Mia's parents are leaving for the weekend to go visit Helen's parents because Helen doesn't want them to come to her, so they end up sending Mia to go with Grammy. At first Mia was gonna stay home alone, but like why the fuck would they leave a 15-year-old girl home alone in the middle of New York? 15-year-old girl with a college boyfriend, why would they do that, right? So at some point in the story, Mia thinks that she's gonna be home alone, so she like talks to Michael on the phone about it, and he's like, oh, so like I'm gonna come over, and she's like, to do what? And yeah, so then that gets thrown out the window. So then she's gonna stay in the hotel with Grammy, and Grammy gets her own room. Yeah, so Michael finds out that Grammy got her own room and he plans to hang out, but then Lily tells Mia not to make plans because she wants to do a campaign, and then Mia says she has to cancel she has plans with Michael, and then Lily's like, why? To do it? And then Mia freaks out because she's not ready, she's 15, you know, and everyone keeps like pushing this on her, which is like, I understand. Someone posts pictures of Mia all around the school in a tiara with a specter, whatever the fuck that is, that says vote for Mia, because Mia is running for, I forgot to put in the bullet points that Mia is running for president, even though she's not really running. Lily is running for Mia to run for president, because you know Mia's a princess, so she has like all the more popularity, and she's going against Lily. I don't know why I didn't, whatever. Yeah, so someone puts vote for Mia under it. Under vote for Mia it says pit, and Mia doesn't know what this means, but obviously I know that it means Princess in Training because the title. Yeah, so apparently Michael gets made fun of for having a princess as a girlfriend, when really he should be getting made fun of for being a freshman in college with a sophomore high school girlfriend, but Mia ends up having a sleepover to prepare for a debate that she has against Lena. That's kind of like the Monday, and she was supposed to have Michael come over, but she decides to do the sleepover instead. And then Mia goes to visit Michael at college after ditching Lars, her boyfriend, in the lounge. They go back to his dorm and they make out, and then his roommate comes in and freaks out because his roommate thinks that Michael is playing a trick on him because Michael's a nerd, and as nerdy as Michael could never date a pretty girl. And then Mia goes into the bathroom and she finds a box of condoms and freaks out, and then they talk about it, and Michael ends up telling her that, you know, they hinted that to all the students which they in college, which I actually think is really smart for a college to do. Michael also says like he knew that Mia wasn't ready because instead of inviting him over when she had this like room, a hotel room alone, she ends up inviting her friends over instead. And so he's like, okay, well, I know you're not ready. And then they talk about it, and then it gets really weird, and he says, I won't wait for you forever. And I'm like, yes, you'll wait the fuck ever how long I want you to wait, bitch. What do you mean I'm not gonna wait? Ugh. And at this point I kind of get disgusted with Michael, and this is not the same Michael that like was written in like the first 3 books. Like college Michael is weird and disgusting, and I don't know, the whole like I won't wait for you forever is just so disgusting. Like you are gonna wait, or you're gonna be finding yourself a new girlfriend. Okay, so also Kenny is in this book, and he's in this book, but I didn't mention him once again. I just don't think he's important. So he ends up talking about how he has like this whole girlfriend, and then finally it's exposed that he's lying, which like we been knew. Mia ends up becoming the new student council president, and Michael ends up coming to talk about Mia, and they discuss things, and he ends up saying that he doesn't want to rush her, and he understands how hard it is. So that kind of won me back, which is like the bare minimum. But I'm just really stuck on Michael. I really like am blinded by Michael from the first 3 books because he was so sweet and such a gentleman, and he understood Mia and like knew that she like he just understood her. And then I feel like the 5th book was just, I didn't like it. I think that like was out of character for him, but he's not my character, so I can't say for sure. But now we move on to book 7, which is Party Princess. So this one starts off in March, which so far this is the biggest time jump in the series. It is months into the school year. Mia and all her friends, except Shamika, because Shamika is on the cheerleading team and her father only allows her to do 1 after school activity. So her and all her friends are on the school council. The main issue is they have now bankrupted the school. Gramir is trying to buy a small island for Genovia for some reason, and Michael has now decided that he wants to throw a college party while he's visiting home because now he's apparently a party boy, and to prove that Mia's not lame, she must become a party girl. So the whole book is about Mia being a party girl. So the school decides that they'll win the money back by starting the school's first literary magazine, and Lily decides to name it Fat Louie's Pink Butthole. Gramir writes a school musical called Braid! Exclamation point, which is about Mia's ancestral grandmother, and it's actually really graphic and really crazy for a musical. But Mia believes Gramir is writing it to cast this boy named John Paul Reynolds Abernathy IV, and she wants to cast him because his father is also trying to buy the island, so she thinks that if she does him a favor, he'll do her a favor by letting her buy the island. Mia doesn't want to do the school musical. Gramir blackmails her. So she says that if Mia doesn't do it, she's going to tell about Mia bankrupting the student council. Is that not fucking insane? I think this book was trying to do a love triangle with the John Paul guy. There's actually this really embarrassing scene where Michael is having his party, and Mia and John, they call him JP. I tried to just call him John Paul. They call him JP. JP, John Paul, the same person. We got that good. So Mia's dancing alone on the dance floor after she was drinking some alcohol, and JP ends up dancing with her, which I thought was really nice, and it made for a really good jealousy scene. There was no jealousy there, but I was hoping that it would be. So what can I say? So then Lily accuses Mia of sexy dancing with him. So now Mia has gotten in her head that it was like very weird of her to be doing that kind of dancing, even though they weren't. But like, Lily's just a fucking bitch. Michael was ignoring her for a few days and then sent her a "we need to talk" text. So you know Mia's now shaking in her boots. Okay, homegirly is quivering in her seat. She cannot take it, and she ends up going to visit him, and she just finds out his parents are getting divorced. Like, okay, you over here being all dramatic. Your parents are getting okay. Mia ends up realizing that Mia ends up realizing that Lily might be crushing on JP, which will make so much sense because she was really weird like in this whole book towards Mia, and it wasn't because her parents were divorced, because she didn't know. So then Mia's like, what the fuck, why is she being weird to me? So then Michael has been MIA, not to be confused with Mia, and she's worried about the musical because she found out that there was a kiss she was gonna have to have with JP, and she wasn't really comfortable with that because in her mind, kissing even for a school musical, kissing another boy even for a school musical is cheating. So during the performance where they're like doing the musical, there's a kiss scene and she reaches out to grab a hand and she notices that it's not JP's hand, and she realizes that it was Michael in JP's costume. So then Mia drops the whole party girl act because Michael says, I don't want a party girl, I want you. And also they like kiss because, you know, Michael doesn't want somebody else kissing his girl, which I don't think that's cheating because it's for a musical, but I am not a theater kid, so what do I know? And Grandmere gets the fake island because Mia was nice to JP, so his father dropped the whole bidding, and then Grandmere helps Mia win the student council money back, which is very nice of her after blackmailing her. So then we get to book 8, Princess on the Brink. I think this also was my least favorite book. I don't know, they all actually blur to me. They all actually are one book to me, so I don't know. I have my tiara back for this one. So this one is the start of Mia's junior year, and I'm only actually talking about plot points at this point because the books are draining. Even though I was having fun, I'm not really much of a series reader. I pretty much only read one book and then I move on with my life. So me reading 10 books was a lot actually, and that's also a big reason as to why I didn't read the final 2. But this book, she is writing a film on finding out that she's a princess. Nothing ever really comes of it. It's just like random like scripts, but it's mixed media and it's really fun. Michael gets invited to go to Japan for some nerdy robotic shit. Basically it's a robot arm that will help the medical field, and Michael is back to being weird about Mia, like, and trying to get him to have sex with her, which is like, dude, I thought we talked about this already. Like, they literally talked it out. I don't know why he's back to it. And honestly, at this point, it was already weird, but it's really weird because he is 19, almost 20, and she is 16. I know that freshmen dating seniors is really common in America because they go to high school together. Like, this type of age dynamic is normal because, you know, when the senior goes off to college, like you know, some people still date, so like this age gap is pretty normal. But it just feels so, and like usually like if he wasn't pressuring her to have sex, I would understand it a lot more, but he's like, it's giving weird in this book, and I don't know, it's just like it feels out of character for Michael because in the first book, first 2 books he was just so like understanding of her and didn't want to pressure her into like anything like dating or anything like that, and now all of a sudden he's pressuring her to have sex with him, and it just like college like just feels like a different character for Michael. And Mia is convinced, she's convinced herself that she must give Michael her virginity in order to keep him to stay from going to Japan, which is so dangerous because this book, she is really trying to like use sex as like a tool to get what she wants and to like manipulate Michael, and she keeps being like, okay, well if I have sex with him I'll get this, and like it's just like it's so uncomfortable for like your young readers to have that. And Lily is once again forcing Mia to run for school president. She doesn't really want to. I just feel like Mia's mom is so preoccupied with taking care of the baby, because I so badly want Helen to just be like, Mia, this is not smart. Like, Helen's very open about sex, like she doesn't mind talking about it. She, you know, when Mia talked about losing her virginity in the other few books, Helen was like, you know, very okay with that. She's just like, you know, sex is normal, sex is fine, like, you know, just make sure you're protected. Like, she's very much like, she's not like an overprotective mom who doesn't want to talk about it at all. So I really wish that Mia could have talked to Helen about it, so that Helen could have been like, hey girlie, you actually shouldn't be using sex as a tool. It should be something that's enjoyable for both parties. Believe it or not, sex should be enjoyable for women. Yeah, it should. Sex shouldn't be used to keep a man, because you can't keep a man that don't want to be kept, first of all, and men kind of just suck to be using sex for all of that, you know. uh and there's also a small plot where Mia is obsessed with rather Lily and who she dating, JP. I almost said 8 different names. Yeah, so she's obsessed with rather Lily and JP have done it or not, which is like not any of her business. Okay, also this is very random, but in every other book there's a Star Wars reference. Like as we talked about, like in one of the books, like she went to go see Empire Strikes Back with Michael. So in every book there's like a Star Wars reference about, you know, something. But in this book I noticed there were no Star Wars reference, and instead they have been replaced with Lord of the Rings, which I thought was like really weird. Like it was no Star Wars mention at all. Just, oh, Michael reminds me of Legolas, which is like, that's a take. That's definitely something to consider. Yeah. Mia finds out that Michael isn't a virgin, which is shocking to me because who the fuck is Michael gonna have sex with? And it's shocking to me because I just assumed, you know, he was pressuring her because he was a virgin and he was 19, so he kind of felt like a loser. No, he had sex with someone else and he was just pressuring her because he's a freak. So there's that. Also, it turns out he lost it to the Julia girl from the first few books, you know, the freaky one that liked to clone fruit flies. Mia impulsively breaks up with Michael, which usually I'd be mad about, but honestly I'm all for it. Like he was getting weird and I was getting uncomfortable, so you know what, leave that man. Usually I would be mad about it, but I'm all for it because he just seems like a different person than like the other books, and I just didn't like it. Michael is begging for Mia back. She ignores him. JP breaks up with Lily. Mia finds out that JP is a virgin and shit gets really weird from there. So she's about to kiss him on the cheek, but he moves his face and they kiss on the lips, and it turns out that Michael was behind them the whole time. I do love a good jealousy scene, what can I say, but this was not a good one. Talks to her dad, and finally somebody knocks some sense into her because she had lost her goddamn mind in these books. Okay, she was everywhere. So Mia pulls a rom-com moment. She's about to go to the airport. She's about to stop him because, you know, he's going to Japan. She's about to stop him. She's about to be like, no, I'm in love with you. His flight is already gone, so they're done. Lily and Mia fight because JP was Lily's man, which rightfully so, but Mia's like, no, it's not like that, like it just happened. So they're not friends anymore, and the book ends with Mia emailing Michael like a fuckboy that she's sorry, and JP asks her if she wants to go see Beauty and the Beast, and you know, Mia loves Beauty and the Beast, so she's like, hell the fuck yeah. And that's the end of book 8. So now we're on book 9, Princess Mia. This one starts off immediately after the last one. Helen is telling Mia, like, you know, you can't wait around for Michael forever. Mia goes, I'm a feminist, I don't need a man to make me happy, which is crazy because she spent 4 books begging for a boyfriend, and then she got a boyfriend and then ruined it. So is she? Her dad took her to a psychiatrist, which is funny because basically Michael and Mia breakup was the final straw for him. He was like, yeah, let's go, we're gonna go to a psychiatrist, which is actually really good because Mia needed one. Mia actually has been struggling with depression, and it's actually crazy that I missed the signs because I struggle with depression, and like I was relating to Mia a lot, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is depression, okay. Also, someone started a website called IHateMiaThermopolis.com, and honestly I've experienced people talking about how much they hate or dislike me online, and I understand like how it is, and like checking it all the time to see what people are saying, and like I would use it as like things that I could change about myself to make people like me more, because you know, nobody wants to be hated, nobody wants to be mass hated. So I definitely understand Mia in this like part, but also as someone who's learned to just stop checking the website, and not everyone's gonna like you and you can't force people to like you. Now looking back at it, I'm like, Mia, please don't check the site. But Mia's also a people pleaser, so it just was all bad for her. And Lily is still mad at Mia for stealing her man. So in the meantime, Lana and Mia start to form a friendship because Lana invited Mia to speak out for this charity event that she's hosting, and Mia actually agreed to it, which was really nice of her, knowing that she hates Lana. Also, the name dropping Star Wars is back in this one. There's no mention of the Lord of the Rings in this book, so I guess the Lord of the Rings era is over and Star Wars is back in. So Mia and Lynn are hanging out with this other girl. I think her name was like Trisha or some shit. I don't know. She wasn't important. So they're hanging out and Mia's like, wow, they may not like what I like, but they're so misunderstood. It's like, who would have thought? Who would have thought? So throughout the entire series, Mia has like this weird obsession with Michael's neck. So randomly throughout the book, she goes, ugh, I miss smelling his neck. And it's just like, JP is telling Mia that Lily is jealous of her and Mia wouldn't believe it. And he's like, lots of girls are jealous of you because you're pretty, you're smart and popular and princess. And she goes, I look like a Q-tip and I'm flunking all of my classes. And at that moment, I am like so very much, I'm just reminded as to why she's real. Like, I just feel like Mia was really coming into her own in this book, and I feel like the psychiatrist that she got is like helping her a lot. Obviously there are some things that she could work on and things that she could be better at, but in this book I just feel like it was a lot better than the previous. It was a lot better than the previous book. Michael has been emailing Mia at this point, but she's been deleting all of them because she doesn't think that she can just be friends with him, and she knows that like if she responds, they're gonna spark this friendship, and she's just so in love with him and she misses him. So she's like, I'm just gonna delete the emails, and so she does. And then JP finally admits that he's in love with Mia. Don't know how she missed it, but whatever. And slowly throughout the entire series, like all 9 books, I was slowly starting to see how much of an unreliable narrator Mia is. As we can see, I talked about it earlier, but at this point I can't tell what is just facts being changed and what is Mia being an unreliable narrator, because she says that Michael dumped her and that, like, you know, when she was like, I think she was like arguing with Lily or something, and she's like, Michael, well, she's like thinking to herself, she's writing her diary, she's like, Michael dumped me, Michael broke my heart. She's the one that dumped Michael, and he tried to fight for her back and she was like no until the end, and she was like, actually I want to fight for him back. So at this point I'm confused, and like the unreliable narrator thing isn't funny anymore. So Mia tries to explain things to Lily, but then Lily gets mad at her, and I feel like even though Lily is definitely a C word and very annoying, I feel like she has every right to be mad at Mia because Mia did steal her man. Like, whether Mia kissed him or not and it was supposed to be a cheek kiss or whatever, you're still dating him. Like, so Lily has every right in this moment to not want to fuck with Mia. But then again, at the same time, I don't feel that bad because Lily is so unbelievably mean to Mia. She basically says that Michael was tired of her whining and her inability to solve her own problems, and then Lily admits to running the I Hate Mia Thermopolis.com website, which like we been knew. And after that, Boris is, I can't remember if Boris, yeah, Boris is dating Tina at this time. Boris talks to Mia and says the things that Lily said about Michael wasn't true, and that Mia should actually email Michael back just because they're over doesn't mean that they can't be friends anymore. And it was very obvious that the whole thing that Lily said to Mia was projecting her own feelings about Mia and just using Michael because she knew that it would hurt her, like it would hurt Mia more if she thought this was coming from Michael versus this coming from Lily. So Mia ends up giving the speech at the charity that she did for Atlanta, and then in this speech she ends up revealing that her ancestor Princess Emile declared constitutional monarchy like England, which basically means that they need a prime minister. And the book ends with Michael congratulating Mia and Mia finally emailing him back. So now on to our final book, book 10, Princess Forever, which is like finally, because at this point in reading the series I'm tired. At this point in the video I'm tired. I don't think I've ever filmed a video this long that wasn't a vlog. I love to yap and I love to talk, but I don't think that I've ever yapped for this long. I am having a good time though, I'm not gonna lie. Me yapping for like an hour straight and people being forced to listen to it is kind of like a dream actually. Yeah, so this one starts off with an interview in the beginning, and in its reveal that Mia will be princess. Genovia will still have a prince or princess while having a prime minister, so that way Mia still is princess. This book also jumps to April of Mia's senior year, and she hasn't been writing in her diary from that time to this time. Mia is dating JP now. she's friends with Michael, and she's also best friends with Lena. They're like really close, they're tight. I love that for her. I love their friendship. I'm not gonna like, kind of, I wish that we had it early in the series because their friendship actually sort of kind of meant everything to me. Mia is writing a book for her senior project, but she's lying to everybody about it and saying that she's writing something about the history of Genovia that like nobody gives a fuck about, which is kind of smart because nobody's gonna like ask for more. She's writing it under this pen name, and she's also submitting it, but she keeps getting rejected. But also she's also applying to colleges, and she's gotten into every college that she's applied to, and I think the only people that know that are her mom and the principal. So everyone else, like Mia, like hasn't gotten into that many colleges or something like that. But she's gotten into everyone that she applied to. She doesn't talk about it because she, you know, she's a princess and she feels like she's getting things handed to her. With the same thing with the book rejection thing, she's writing under a pen name because she wants to know that someone wants her book because her writing is good and not because she's Princess Mia. She wants JP to ask her to prom, but he doesn't see a reason as to why he should ask her since they've been dating for 2 years, almost 2 years, and he knows she wants to go. And Mia is excited because unlike Michael, JP doesn't hate prom. Michael is working on his robotic medical arm. It's doing very well. It's worth millions. He's a genius, and he's actually coming back to New York to donate his arm to his college or some shit like that. Mia goes to Michael's college, but his whole family is there, and like even his grandparents, because it's like a huge deal. But she thinks that she's seen this girl, she thinks that Michael's seen this girl named Midori, and it's the same thing with the whole Julia situation where it's like she doesn't have proof that he's seeing her. She kind of just sees her like another girl around him, and she's like, that's his girlfriend. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. Also, all they did was hug, and like Mia just, that was when Mia was like, oh okay, that's his girlfriend, which like Mia logic, whatever. Was the girl named Julia or Judith? I don't care. So I'm still questioning in this series at this point if the book, if Mia's just unreliable, or if Meg Cabot, the author, just forgot what she wrote, because Mia is still insisting that Michael broke up with her. That is absolutely not true. Mia and Lily end up running into each other in the bathroom of Michael's donation event. Tries to talk to her, but then somebody comes in the bathroom. Things seem to be genuinely different with Lily, and she's like she's gotten better and she's grown and changed a bit. Mia tells Lily that she's there to interview Michael, so Mia's like, okay, bet, like why don't I talk to Michael for you? I'll get you that interview. It's like for a school paper, even though Mia's kind of lying, but like not really. She finally tells the truth about her project to her friends, and I'm so proud of her because in this book, Mia's lying to everybody all the time. There's even like a lie count. So I'm really proud that she tells the truth for something. When Mia tells JP about it, his reaction is like, why are you writing general fiction? And she says it's because she's having fun, and he says that she's selling her self short. And I feel like that's a bit misogynistic, because why is writing romance selling yourself short? There's nothing wrong with romance, and there's nothing easy about writing romance. I don't know why people have this idea that like romance is just so easy to write about because all you have to do is write two characters who fall in love and kiss. That's not all that romance is about. Like there's so much more to romance, like the characters having chemistry and like actually seeing the characters fall in love and seeing why the characters fall in love with each other, and not everybody can just write that. So that's when I started my I Hate JP club. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Then Mia and Michael do the interview, and that had me kicking my feet and giggling. It wasn't even necessarily romantic. It just reminds me of like Michael from the first like 3 books and like their relationship together, because I feel like in the books when they actually started dating, like you don't see much of their relationship because he was in college, and you don't see much of Michael. But I don't know, it just reminded me of like when they first started dating, like the Michael that I loved. And so like I was very giddy. And yeah, I know it's weird to be fawning over him because I talked about his age and like how I was saying it was weird, but in my mind this is all written because it was the early 2000s, and like, you know, they hadn't known any better. And also in my mind it's just like he's an inappropriate age, because in the movie they aged up Mia to make it make more sense. So I know it's hypocritical, and I'm basically using whatever works for me. Like I'm very much aware of that, and that's okay. I love Michael, so whatever. So Michael and Mia are giving what they gave before Meg Cabot fucked them up in book 6 and made them break up, and so now they have that plus the added layer of Mia having a boyfriend. I'm sorry if you don't like cheaters, this book is not for you. Like I just love, first of all, I just love this whole like plot line of like the angst of like Mia being with somebody and Michael yearning after her, and him being like he wanted her to wait for him, but he knew that she wouldn't, so he doesn't feel mad about that. It's just, the angst was good, okay? I'm not about to explain myself. So Tina talks to Mia about her book, and she says that the sex scenes seem realistic, and I don't believe that, because I used to read Wattpad back in the day when everybody used to think that we knew what like sex was like in like high school, like we knew what things were like, and then it's like you used to be like, oh, like this person knows so much about it, and it's like Mia had a big birthday party that Michael and Lily attended, and during the party, Mia's boyfriend JP does a prom proposal to her. But he starts it off as if it's a real proposal, and Michael walks the fuck out right in the middle of it. And Mia's like, oh my gosh, he just doesn't even care about me. Like, he doesn't even care. Like, and I'm like, so Mia decided that she still wanted to have sex with JP after prom because he wanted to give it to someone special that he loved, and she's just like, all right, let's do it. She already had planned that she wanted to lose her virginity during prom night. So, and JP's her boyfriend. She texts him to get a hotel room. He's like, all right, babe, got it, got this hotel room, remember that. So Mia gets an offer from Avon Books, and she's super happy because this means that someone actually liked her work without knowing who she was. And the person ends up finding out, they're like, oh, like, I know this is a pen name, like, what's your real name? She's like, oh, it's Mia. And like, they're like, oh my gosh, okay. Then they email about her back a few days later, and oh my gosh, Princess Mia. But she's telling JP about it, and JP is like, I have better contacts, don't take it. And I just didn't like it because it just felt like very controlling, like he didn't really want her to be happy. Because it's like, Avon Books, I mean, I don't know what it was at that time, but Avon Books is very popular. It's just like he's just not supporting her like fully, and he's like kind of like controlling her, because he's like, it's like a whole conversation, and she's like, oh well, like, I just want to take it, like, I like this offer, I feel comfortable with it. And he's like, no, but I have better contacts. And it's like, okay, but where the fuck were your contacts when I was trying to email people? Even if she was writing under a pen name, he could have been like, yeah, this is somebody I know, she sounds good, check it out. Where was he then? Oh, okay, exactly. So Mia has a lunch date with Michael to thank him because he donated one of his robotic arms to the hospital in Genovia. And on the lunch date, they end up going on a carriage and making out for 20 blocks straight. Yeah, in broad daylight with Lars in the front seat. That was amazing. So Mia ends up finding out that JP already had a hotel room booked months in advance, and things are looking fishy. So at prom, Mia goes to Lily and she asks Lily if JP is a total fake, and Lily's like, took you long enough. And then Lily admitted that JP broke up with her, and it was definitely because he was in love with Mia. But then JP had basically told Lily that like Michael and Mia were looking like they were gonna break up, so basically bye, right? Turns out that the whole time Lily and JP did sleep together, and he wasn't a virgin, so he was basically lying his ass off the entire time. He's definitely the scum at the bottom of the earth. And so Mia and Michael go back to the hotel where Mia confronts him, and then they break up. So then Mia goes to leave, and Michael is standing in the hotel at the elevator, because a few days prior Lily had told Michael to go to that hotel and wait in front of the elevator at midnight, and there would be like a surprise there for him or something, which is Mia. And they basically talked things out, and it was just such a cute moment. And it was this really cute moment where like Mia and Michael are talking, and it's basically like a hurt comfort moment where he's like, oh, like, did he hurt you, whatever? She's like, no. And then he's like, Lars, what do you think? Do you think I should go and turn him into mush? And Lars like, yeah. And then it's just like this whole like moment of like Michael protecting Mia, and it was like very cute for like the ending. And they talked about everything, and it was just really good. And Mia's dad was running, oh, I forgot to mention that the entire book, Mia's dad was running for prime minister because he really liked ruling, and you know, being in on everything, and you know, making, yeah, whatever people do. So he was running for prime minister, and he was running against Renee, which was Mia's cousin that her grandma was trying to set her up with. And he ends up winning the election in the end, and everyone basically gets a happy ending, and it was a very cute story. I pretty much loved the series. I had fun reading it, even though I definitely got tired. The final book was the perfect book, like, y'all, like, that was a really good book. I think I'm gonna just read that as a standalone. Like, if I want to reread these books, I'm gonna just reread like 1, 2, 3, then the final book. That book was such, like, the romance was good. It like has so much like angst in it, and like the emotional cheating. Like, emotional cheating is okay when they're soulmates. Yeah, that sounded crazy out loud. I don't really like cheating in books, but when it's fictional and the characters are meant to be together, it's okay. And it was just very, it was very cute. It was a time. I'm very glad to finally be done with it. I laughed, I cried, I screamed, I felt all the emotions. Like, I had a ball. I really did. What can I say? So I do recommend, I don't know if I recommend reading it. I gave every book 4 stars except I think 7 I gave 2 stars, and then I gave the final one 5 stars. So it was very fun. They're very quick to read. They're very easy to get through. I think I read these once I actually sat down and got into the series. I think I read the series in like 3 days. So I definitely want to do more of these. I do have more videos planned to do more book adaptions, not just YA books, but like any book that was turned into a movie or TV show that basically got canceled. I would love to do a video about like what happened in the end. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.